Welcome to Hi, I Like Maths Forest. Just for our audience, Forest is working with an old friend of mine, Puyan, and that's how we got to know each other. I guess we can talk about your research and stuff you're doing with Puyan. Are you doing it with Puyan, or is just an independent kind of a research?
Yeah, so we're collaborating on some problems, and then we collaborate with a lot of different people. So some problems we're collaborating with each other, some problems we're collaborating with other people at the university.
Yeah, excellent. So what is that then?
So one of the main things I'm looking at right now is the Rubik's Cube. So we've created AI algorithms in the past that can learn to solve these puzzles, but they can't explain anything. You just see the steps it's taking. It doesn't do anything in terms of explanation. So how can it come up with an algorithm that humans can understand? How can it be tailored to a person's preferences? How can it build off a person's ideas? And then how can we then take that to, say, the frontiers of research and get new ideas there? And so this also takes a lot of different forms. So we're working with people in, say, medical imaging, and we are looking at calcification of arteries and hoping AI can help with the calcification part, actually quantifying it, especially in the extremities, like your legs, and especially lower legs, things like that. But then when it comes to prognosis, can you incorporate biomarkers to actually help doctors with a prognosis, but that prognosis has to be explainable to the practitioner. You can't just say like 50% chance this is going to happen. No, you have to actually have something that's explainable. And can you come up with rules in terms of what really overall leads to a good prognosis, bad prognosis? Could that be translated into how people actually get treated? And so, another project we're looking at is when it comes to actually identifying which molecules would be useful to treat, say, a certain disease or to affect a certain gene. Can you use AI to give starting points or ideas of what molecules may be useful? So, these are like problems. You could even come up with new treatment for something. I don't think it'd come up with it like right off the bat, but it maybe give a good starting point. So in like 10 years, if a pharmacologist uses AI and goes, that's interesting, I hadn't thought about it that way before, I think that would be like a humongous success. So and then there are a lot of other projects that just involve applying deep learning, reinforcement learning, algorithms just about deep learning itself, how to make it more efficient, or different search algorithms that combine deep learning, things like that, how to have certain theoretical guarantees, and these kinds of things are also things that I look at.
Excellent. What you have done for dealing with these problems, we can focus on a particular one that you're quite interested in and share some results with us if it's possible, or you would like to talk about that.
Sure. So, the first one with the Rubik's Cube, this one actually started out just how can you use AI to solve the Rubik's Cube? You just give a description. This is what the cube looks like. This is how it moves. And then from there, figure out a solution. And so not just for the Rubik's Cube, but, other puzzles as well. The algorithm goes, here's the description. Here's how it moves. Here's what we want you to get it to look like. And then I'm not going to tell you anything else. And so, can you solve it?
Right.
And so there's an algorithm out there called A-star search. And this goes back to 1976 or 78. And so this was initially developed for robotics, but works for really any pathfinding problem, sequential decision-making problem,
Right.
where you need to find, deterministic ones. You need to find a sequence of actions from some starting state to some goal state, for these, pathfinding problems. But the key is you need a heuristic to guide it. So, this direction seems more promising, that direction seems less promising, to kind of prioritize where you're going to look. So the heuristic part is what often people will use domain-specific things they know about the puzzle to come up with a heuristic and then put it in A-star search, and then it's able to solve the problem. What we did is we used deep neural networks and dynamic programming, which is used a lot, really the basis of a lot of reinforcement learning algorithms. So this deep reinforcement learning to learn a heuristic function just based on the description of these puzzles. You learn a heuristic function, you put it into A-star search, and it's able to solve these problems. And then a lot of times it's able to solve them in the most efficient way possible, meaning using the fewest number of moves possible. And so this thing I was really excited about because it showed that, this is very much related to resource consumption. So if you want to synthesize a molecule, you want to do it in the way that is going to not waste, resources, things like this. So, I was really excited about that. But the thing is, explaining such an algorithm to a human, the most efficient algorithm possible to solve the Rubik's Cube probably wouldn't be feasible. So how do you actually explain this to a human? And this is work that is ongoing, but some really early results we got. And let me actually go over the algorithm, just high level. So we add in the ability to describe the Rubik's Cube or certain instances of the Rubik's Cube using logic. And we want to find a logic program that can solve the Rubik's Cube. And the reason we're looking for a logic program is because you can define logical predicates that are really easy for people to understand. For example, there's some cubelet and this sticker is on the yellow face or something. We can understand that. And so you can say, here are the building blocks for your logical programs. These are all things humans can understand. Compose them into a program that solves the Rubik's Cube. And so again, this is an algorithm that's guided by a neural network, except you're looking not just to solve one instance of the cube, but all instances of the cube using this approach. So this program, any instance you give it, it should be able to solve the Rubik's Cube. So, we're starting like really basic. We even just started with just get one little cubelet, that has two colors, two stickers on it. Just get that in its correct position, just one, and explain what that algorithm is, which seems pretty simple. But the algorithm behind actually doing that, a lot actually went into it. And the solution it gave was actually more simple than what I was thinking, because I was thinking like, you get one of the colors in place, get one of the colors in place and then move the other, you move the face that is in place, you turn it so that the other one's in place, which is pretty simple. But that part about get one of them in place was kind of ambiguous. And I was like, I don't know, just get one of them in place. But the solution it came up with was, if one of the stickers is a certain direction away from the sticker it matches, you move it in that direction. No matter if it's one in place or the other one, none are in place, you just move it in that direction. Otherwise, one of the stickers is on some face, doesn't matter what face. But if that isn't the case, one of the stickers is on some face, just move that face clockwise or counterclockwise. And then that's it. And you would have solved it. And so there are actually only two things you really need to take into account.
Oh, interesting.
And so that was a lot simpler than what I was thinking about. And this is just like for this really simple case. So I was really excited about that.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, because it seems quite crazy. But I didn't think the solution is that simple. it's pretty good.
It's something like anyone could do. But then even just explaining it was kind of, that part about just get one of them in place, just one of them to match, was just kind of like, I just would wave my hands. But this one says it in a really simple way that I don't think I would have thought of.
Really nice. I like that. Oh, cool. Is it anything else you would like to talk about Rubik cube, or just other research work you're doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some other things we're looking at is just the algorithms behind getting the Rubik's cube, actually, solving the Rubik's cube. This is just one instance in a much broader instance of pathfinding problems. It could be, excuse me,
That's okay.
chemical synthesis. It could be theorem proving. It could be program synthesis. There are a bunch of other problems. So one, we're actually looking at how to apply them to these problems. So we're looking at chemical reactions right now.
Right.
And how to actually use this for chemical reactions. And then also just the algorithm itself. So, how do you deal with certain scenarios? So there may be a scenario where you have a lot of possible actions you could take. The Rubik's Cube is only 12 actions. Some of the problems we looked at was like 49 actions.
Right.
There are some problems that you have thousands of actions you can take. And this is just computationally difficult. And how do we deal with that? So, there's research on that. And then there's research on you want to try to have some theoretical guarantees. So with A-star search, if the heuristic function is what people call admissible, which just means it never overestimates the cost to actually solve the problem from any given configuration, then you're guaranteed to find a cheapest solution, the solution with the lowest cost. You're guaranteed. Right. So with neural networks, these are these big, complicated, nonlinear functions, really hard to get these theoretical guarantees out of neural networks. So how can you try to guarantee that not guarantee, but say in practice, most of the time, you still can find the shortest path? How do you do that with neural networks? And so that's another thing I look at. And there are also other applications of neural networks that we're doing. So yeah, that's a little overview of it. And then also with neural networks themselves. So, these are neural networks combined with search, but with neural networks themselves, how can you get them to learn more efficiently? So we look at these things called activation functions that allow them to learn nonlinear functions. And what if you learn those activation functions along with their other parameters? What happens? And, we find that they can perform a lot better if you allow them to learn. So, yeah.
Excellent. That seems pretty cool. Quite into
it. It's a lot of fun.
And, yeah, I can imagine that.
and we collaborate with people in human computer education, like Professor Daisy Wu, and education, like Professor Hung Tao Tang and Matthew Irvin, and education at USC, and also people in electrical engineering, people in chemical engineering. So it's just so good I get to collaborate with all these people.
This is excellent. Have you found it hard working on interdisciplinary work or research project?
Not necessarily hard. It's just you have to have patience, because people aren't going to immediately get why you may want what you want. So you may say, for a project involving we have a project involving detecting gamma rays. And so something like this could be used for looking at signals from outer space. It could be used for say, clean energy, like nuclear power, to make sure the power plants are safe, things like that. And, we were saying, give us this data. But they at first, didn't understand why we wanted this data. And so, you have to be kind of patient, this is what we're expecting, this is what we need. And so we need this data. And that's just with pure data stuff. But then there are other people that, you really have to understand what they are doing. For example, with the Rubik's Cube, we're actually having students work with the system. We have a prototype, and they need very specific things in order for them to say, these are the outcomes that we've actually observed. They need, very specific things, and their experiments need to be set up in very specific way. And these are ways that us in AI, we'd go oh, you could do it this way, that way, whatever. But they're like, no, we this has to be specific. So, just learning about that, it takes patience.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
AI researchers are often criticized of just rediscovering some math problem, and just reapplying it and not, not knowing a certain background and just saying, oh, we discovered this.
Yeah.
Are there any areas of math that you would think, people would benefit from studying more, maybe in the field of AI or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I will go with numerical analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And computational analysis or numerical analysis.
Okay.
Yeah, functional analysis is quite theoretical, but it also I think it helps at quite a high level, I would
Mm-hmm.
say.
Okay.
I personally like differential equation and partial differential equation. You can take it to the next level because it can get really crazy. But when you combine numerical methods with differential equation, partial differential equation, then you can apply it on heaps of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in reality, anything is changing respect to another variable with a different rate. And that's just the way we present a differential equation or partial differential equation. But normally they are very complicated. So when you learn how to use numerical methods, I think you can do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
kind of my way of looking at it. But yes, it also depends on type of research you've done already and things like that. Since my postdoc, I got really interested in data analysis and using a kind of statistical model to deal with data, and I found it quite useful as well. That's something
Okay.
I've done. Yeah.
Okay.
Advanced
Cool.
statistical models, I think, is worth it to invest in and actually learn what the statisticians use for analyzing their data.
I often will listen to these YouTube lectures if I'm like, doing dishes or, just doing some chores around the house. I have like my, wireless headphones and my phone like set up on a little stand and listen to the lecture. So I'll
Really?
keep that in mind for like the next lecture series I listen
to. Oh, good. It's one of my advisors when I was doing my PhD told me there are different ways of learning stuff in general. If you want to focus on maths or statistics, because maths is just crazy. It's just so many branches of mathematics are there, and then people are kind of learning it. And if you want to be really good at a particular kind of branch of mathematics, then you dig it in, and it's just heaps of stuff to learn. But I think there's one way of learning it, so literally throwing yourself at it, but also a kind of practical way of learning it is just going by problems. Like, this is the problem that I want to solve, and I need to understand what sorts of or what branches of mathematics I need, or statistical computationally, kind of what I actually need to kind of put together and learn to be able to solve that problem.
I found that, for me, when it's grounded in a real problem that I'm currently working in, I can grasp it a lot faster. When it's grounded in, some problem like Sally has this many apples and rate of change of apples is this, and like do some differential equation, like I that doesn't really help me. And then the pure math, it's like, if you have some inherent interest in it, then it's pretty fun to learn. If not, then it's kind of a chore. But all of the time when it's part of my research, I become really interested in it. So
that's excellent. Yeah, as I said, it's just it really depends on the way you like to look at it. Most people, I've noticed that they like to learn it the way you like it. So they just like to learn and apply stuff that are directly involved in their own problems or their research topic, and that makes sense. Well, you can save heaps of time, I would say, and it's quite it's deliberately toward solving your problem. I also wanted to ask you about pain points as a successful researcher, I would call you. If you found something that is quite annoying and you would like to talk about it, feel free to.
I think with me, I have a hard time with being able to like really pull myself away from work. Like I'm away from the computer and I'm still thinking about the problem. And I think I really have a hard time like enjoying an afternoon, enjoying a weekend, enjoying a holiday. That's really been difficult for me. And even though I traveled a lot, I've traveled to a good amount of different countries. I've been away for a while, and I think I've had a lot of fun. But that's kind of the thing is I would go travel for 2 weeks, go travel for a holiday. A lot of times I just have a lot of fun, but it's like you know every evening, every weekend. That is really um, what I need to really improve on. And the thing is, it's not good, you working like this, and not just like health wise, but even solving the problem, because you get this tunnel vision. And
Yeah.
only when you sometimes just forcibly get ripped away from this, you have to do this. Oh, what happened? This pipe broke. Okay, you really like your attention has to get diverted. Can your brain does whatever it does, and you come back with a fresh set of eyes and go, oh, of course that's not going to work. But how much longer would you have been working on that had you not been ripped away from work?
Yes.
So having that ability to like just turn it off, just stop thinking about it. And so I just got back from the eye doctor, right?
Right.
And he was looking at my eyes and he was like, your eyes are so like focused in, you're looking at the computer all the time.
Right.
And it was like, he was saying, you're so, what was he saying? It was almost like he was psychoanalyzing me. He was like, you're like so stubborn. You're like, I'm going to solve this problem. I'm not going to go to bed. I'm going to do it. I was like, whoa, this is giving me insight.
Till it's solved.
This is what he was saying. He was like, this is how you are. And I was like, this is insight into like my life. He's right. He was like, you gotta relax, man. You gotta go to a party or something, like have fun. You gotta relax.
Really?
And I was like, man, you need to open up a clinical practice in psychology or something, But he was like, just from looking at my eyes, he could tell like,
are you serious? Just by looking at your eyes, he said that, or you just gave him some information about what type of jobs you have?
I think he knew I was a computer science professor because I've been there multiple times and we've talked. But this was just, he was like, flipping through, is this one better, that one better? And he had a bunch of scans of my eyes.
Right.
And he was like, they're so, it's like, your muscles are almost like cramps, like they're narrowed in into this range and you're losing the ability to see further because of that. And he was just, extended that it was just basically describing my relationship to my work. And so that's something that I have such a hard time. I just keep thinking about the problem. I'm doing this, go to the movies or whatever. And it's like you keep thinking about it. And really, it takes being ripped away from the problem sometimes before you really get that good insight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you also think the researchers in particular, they're at risk of mental health because of it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've noticed my mood sometimes is just almost directly related to how my research is going, in terms of like, is the problem I'm working on, will it ever be solved? If I'm feeling like no, then I feel down. If I'm, I'll just got over that hump, then I'm like excited. And
no, I fully get
especially in my PhD, I think it was a good, because your PhD, you're there for a good amount of time, and the whole thing is like getting the PhD, so you're more kind of worried about that. But but even now it's like, if you get too hung up on it and you can't tear yourself away from the problem and it becomes like your identity, I really do think people are in danger of like developing mental health issues for sure.
It's just I don't know how over there people take it seriously, but in Australia it's just a big deal. And they're working on making awareness and run their own challenges, and they really are serious about that. And I being in this research environment and having heaps of friends and colleagues also, doing research, and they are constantly saying the same thing. I can't switch off my brain, and that's not good over a long time.
And I think it kind of initially might reward people like that. Like initially, you may do well at first, but as you get more specialized and as the problems become more complex, it actually hurts you. Maybe in undergrad, you working like crazy, taking a lot of classes is fine. I remember in undergrad, I would take I was computer engineering, and then I was working at one point 3 different like part-time jobs. Like I was an office assistant, I was the resident advisor, I was a tutor. So I, was working all this time. I would sleep. If I got to sleep 4 hours, I thought, man, this is a like lucky night. I'm sleeping 4 or 5 hours. Oh wow, look at me, I'm so fancy. And I would get gray hairs, and I had tinnitus really bad one time, where like the ringing in my ear wouldn't stop. And but I graduated, magna cum laude. I got into a good master's program. I got to do fun things, but like there's really like points in there was like, this isn't healthy. But I okay, work through that part. But then if you continue that, especially as you get older, but then also, the problem, it's more specific. You're working on one thing versus like, okay, you have 5, 6 different classes. You can kind of spread that attention out, and you kind of do get some type of fresh eyes on each one. But as you're focusing in on a certain research topic, it just hurts you, and you get this tunnel vision, and you can go in the wrong direction for months, years, before you realize that you're looking at the problem totally wrong.
No, I fully get that.
I've noticed it myself. Like when my research is going well, like my mood is elevated. When it's not, I'm like, just, I don't feel good, and I'm just lost in it. Like I can't tear myself away from it.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Something else that I've noticed when I was doing my PhD, one day I was quite happy because I saw that things are going well, and tomorrow morning I just came back to office, and I look at my work and I said, oh, there's a bug there, and then so it ruined the whole results, and then so therefore everything is wrong. Then it was just constantly like that, and I was at the end, I think I was thinking that, you know what, I think I'm losing trust in myself because one day I think that's right, and the other day it just things seems to be quite bad.
Learning that this few hours from midnight to 4 a.m., you're not gonna like, I used to think, oh, I just work a little bit more, and then boom, I have a Nobel Prize. I've solved everything, like you just keep thinking, oh, just a little bit more, and like you're a total hero, or like just you will have solved it and all your problems will be gone. But it's like you have to realize that you got to pace yourself and just be patient and things like that.
Yeah, no.
Which I'm still learning. It's not like, I'm still working on it. So
no, I do get it. Well, eventually I decided to just leave research because I felt that it's damaging my mental health, and I wasn't happy about that. And after my postdoc, I said, I'm not going to take research as my profession. I like it. I like to talk about it. I like to read it still, but it's just, I don't think I can mentally afford more. That was my decision anyway. Yeah.
I hear you.
Alrighty. So, if you would like to talk about something, we call it a ritual, something that you would like to repeat every day, and you think your life got better because of it. It's just something you believe in. Feel free to share also.
Well, I like to make music, so I play the piano, play some guitar. So like playing every day always helps me. I really like just playing and singing to myself. Before COVID, open mics and stuff are always fun, but now things are open back up, so I got to find them here in South Carolina. I haven't even had the chance to go to one, but those things are fun. But just like music, making a new song or just playing on the piano or guitar, it's always been good for me.
Excellent. I like that. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
I don't think so. I mean, we talked about a lot, so I don't think so. Yeah.
Excellent.
This is fun.
But I would like to thank you again for joining me
Thank you.
to have this episode, and I also like to invite you again back because you're a great speaker and you're quite chilled and happy, and you just take it really easy.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.